Before this video gets started, I just wanted to say thank you to all channel members for supporting the channel. It truly means a lot. If you want to become a channel member, hit the link down in the description. Now, let's get on with today's video.
Hey, what's going on, guys? Pineapple Swayer bringing you guys a Finite Crisis build for Harley Quinn with Finite Crisis items only. We have a stacked deck SMG, which you can get to drop in Finite Crisis. It's a really rare drop, but probably the best gun you could use, or the best variant of a gun you could use, is the stacked deck SMG. We have a Tier 1 Bane SMG. To help with the Tier 1 set, we have the Two-Face Melee to get the synergy with him and Bane. Probably the best and just overall really good synergy in the game. It's very useful and can help you get grenades, which is perfect for Harley. And then we have a Tier 1 Bane grenade as well. And then we have a Tier 3 Bane shield to get this little piece bonus right here. Although in all honesty, if you have Heatwave's Molten Coat, I'd probably use that. Then we have a piece of Ivy gear, and then to complete the Tier 1 set to help with the grenade damage and grenade drops with the Bane's Rage. And then we have one last piece of Ivy to finish and complete our loadout. And you guys all know what the Ivy gear set does. It's probably the most overpowered gear set in the game. In Finite, it's not as overpowered, but it's definitely needed in my opinion. Here's our loadout. We're going to be changing it today, though, since we have this equipped. We're going to be using the SMG. And then one look at my talent tree. But let's just kind of get the bad out of the way. Finite Crisis is terrible. This is only a Mastery 100 build. By all means, I'm not going to say that this is the best build in Finite Crisis, because it's not, and anyone that's dedicated or willing to get to Mastery 1000 on Finite Crisis, power to you, but that ain't me. Finite Crisis is hard, the mutators suck, the enemy's health pool is insane, and honestly, a build that gets to Mastery 100 and can beat it consistently is pretty good. And I'm only showcasing one mission today, because an average mission on Finite Crisis takes like 10 minutes. I'm not even joking. So what just sucks about the season is it's super glitchy. Like, you'll notice that I'll be killing a lot of enemies and they just simply don't register. A lot of glitchy stuff happens. Destroyers don't give you shield harvest prompts, and the horrible mutator of every time an enemy dies, they explode, which on Mastery like 20 plus, it will basically insta-kill you, basically making Harley Quinn and King Shark completely useless. But if you have some good modifiers to help your loadout and gear, it can be really useful. The best character in Finite Crisis out of the original 4 is Deadshot, because he can fly away and get out of there without taking any damage. While Harley, Shark, and Boomer, they're going to be up close and personal and take a lot of damage. And, you know, I cut a lot of this footage out because during the Destroyer round, it was just simply not going my way. I was able to finish it though, but I just kept dying over and over. And the same thing is probably going to happen to you on Finite Crisis. You know, I am really good at this game, but Finite Crisis is a struggle for me. And to be completely honest with y'all, Finite Crisis, most of the people that hit Mastery 300 back before it was Mastery 1000, the cap used to be 300, believe it or not. Most people that hit 300 legitimately in Finite Crisis were hackers. Not even actual good players. There might have been like 1 or 2 players that were good at the game. And the reason why people got boosted so high on the leaderboards in Finite Crisis is because they would put the number 1 hacker in the solo squad, in their social squad, and that's how they grinded masteries in Finite Crisis. So that's how most people had high mastery in Finite Crisis, and people did that for a long time to get to Mastery 1000 really quick. They would just add the hacker as a friend and then put them in their social squad, and that's how people would grind masteries back in Season 0 and Season 1. Eventually, Rocksteady would listen to the community and remove the hacker from the leaderboard. You can no longer find him. But I'm sure I have old screenshots of being able to find the hacker and who they would put in their social squad. However, you could still find hackers in this game. It's just something specific about that one hacker. I think he had like 1 billion damage points. So he basically just insta-killed everything if you had him on your social squad. And that's how people got high mastery in Finite Crisis. Is there a legitimate way to get high mastery in Finite Crisis? Yeah, there definitely is. But back then, and even still to this day, it's very difficult. I do know a couple people that have hit Mastery 1000 on Finite Crisis, but it's just like for me, I don't really think it's worth the stress or just going through it. And it's impossible with finite gear. If there's someone that has done it with finite gear, um, honestly, respect to you, but I just simply could not believe it. But I think it is possible though with not finite gear. You have to use some different items from different seasons to achieve Mastery 1000 in finite. But yeah, so that's kind of the history of Finite Crisis, and even before, when the game first came out, since a lot of people that will be watching this will be from PS Plus, uh, the the well, and since a lot of people ask, basically, what are we doing with this build? Before I keep rambling and talking, is we're just relying on grenades and our stack deck weapon and our shield harvest to get grenades from Bane's Rage. And you can see I'm killing a lot of enemies, but it's just not registering on the point chart. But when Finite Crisis first came out, Burn was super overpowered because the game was stuck on the old gear score system. So enemies were simply built from the gear score multipliers, so their health would be like in the billions. Like I'm not even joking. And back in the day, if you had burn ticks used to do up to like 100 mil and whatnot, and then you could even hit 1 billion, damage with the Bizarro sniper. But this was all changed shortly after, and they removed that and fixed it to make it for the new system, no longer the gear score system, because a lot of you guys probably don't know this either. The game was meant to originally have like a gear score system, which means like a lot of your weapons that you would use would have to be high gear score if you wanted to continue to progress and do more difficult missions, as they stated at the state of play back in 2023, I want to say, or yeah, 2023. But people hated that because it made most gear feel useless and have no use. Although the funny thing is, only like 8 items actually really work in this game consistently. So maybe the gear score system would have been better in the long run. I really don't know though, but it would have been cool to see like an original build of how the game functioned with the gear score system. But yeah, that's kind of a history of Finite Crisis and just why this season sucks. So don't knock yourself down if you're struggling on like Mastery like 40, 50, and 60, because it's just really difficult. I mean, I'm doing Mastery 100, and I've gotten to high Mastery on every season, except Finite, and it's just difficult for me. And the reason why that is because after Finite, they started to lower down on the enemy health pool, and the seasons just got easier and easier. Brainiac had less health, and like especially too, like even Brainiac in Finite Crisis, the only way people were able to beat him at high mastery is they would just have to pray to God that he would get stuck in a wall. He would get glitched into a wall. Like I'm not even joking. Like that sounds like a joke, but it's not. You would have to get him stuck in a wall in Finite, and that's how you beat him on high mastery, because he couldn't move while he was in the wall, so you could just shoot him forever. It would take a long time, but he would eventually die. And it's just hilarious to like think about. As you can see right here, I'm just constantly dying because I'm not even getting shield harvest prompts from the destroyers, and it's annoying. So, but yeah, that's how you defeated Brainiac on high mastery. But enough rambling. It just I love to just kind of talk about the history of this game because it's just hilarious. Like looking at where we are now compared to back then, and how the game has just drastically improved and gotten a whole lot better. Like it's not even close. Like the gameplay mechanics from season 0 to now, yet people still like try to say that the game didn't get better from season to season. Story base, yeah, the story just kind of stayed whatever. But gameplay, like oh my gosh, the gear sets got better and better, and the infamous gear got better and better. The mutators got better, the gameplay got better, everything just got better, and they just drastically improved the game and made it a much more fun experience, which is what the game desperately needed in season 0, but it just didn't have. So everyone also too just didn't like the repetitive gameplay loop because it was very difficult and not easy, especially for when your game is built to constantly improve and build in the end game, and you just couldn't really find that sweet middle ground in Finite Crisis. But anyways though, this is Pineapple Sway. I hope you guys enjoy this Finite Crisis build. I hope you enjoy my little history lesson on Finite Crisis and why it's the worst season in Suicide Squad. and what it was like to be, an original player back on January 30th, a year ago today. Anyways, this is Pineapple Sway. If you made it this far in the video, comment Finite Crisis sucks. No disrespect though, but it does. Peace out.